What up, world? Welcome to 4th&20 Sports on WBOZ Sports, where we've got balls. We are finally here, episode 40. We are live, and you're with your one and only, the favorite host you've heard so much about, AJ Johnson, and the one, the only,
Max Todd. Glad to be here. And now you guys get to see how I react every time he says that, because ridiculous. We all know who you love to hear.
Yeah, me. They subscribe for their favorite host, AJ Johnson.
That's a silly thing.
That's not a silly thing.
Look at you. You're trying too hard. You're wearing a tie.
I always wear a tie, man. I'm tied up and buttoned down, but we don't want to go into extra details about exactly what that means. It's a new year, man. I'm excited we're doing this. Like I wanted to be live for a while. I think it's gonna give our audience a big feel. I know we got the radio faces. I understand that. The faces only a mother could love. But
thanks, Mom.
We appreciate you. But that's all good. We're good and happy. This is something we're going to be doing for you guys every week. 4th&20 Sports on WBLZ Sports Live. You can check it out. And then you can hear it again if you missed the part. Thursday at 7 p.m. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, WBLZ app, the Apple Podcast app. We are everywhere. We're trying to get to that new and noteworthy on iTunes. So go ahead, subscribe, hit that like, hit that follow button. Max, how's it been, man? I gotta tell you, I'm proud of you, man. I heard you've been doing your Jersey Shore, your GTL, your gym, tan, and laundry.
Yeah, well, this is my big thing this year is death to the dad bod. I don't even have kids, and I have this awful dad bod that no one seems to like, including myself. So, death to the dad bod. That's what this year is about. I'm gonna continue. I've been hitting the gym pretty hard. Been there 14 out of the last 15 days. So. Keeping it strong.
I like to do my morning workouts. I always do at least one sit-up or one crunch a day. That's how I get out of bed. Just straight up. All right.
And the curls of lifting the beer up and down,
In the morning, it's coffee. I've been on a coffee tick. I had way too much coffee in the last 2 days. I don't know where it's come from, because if you remember when you met me, I was not a coffee person.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it kind of fuels me. That may be more addicting than most things I've ever had in my life.
Coffee's the best. I love coffee. I happen to drink what I think is a perfect amount, but some people tell me I have a problem.
What's that number, sir?
About 7 cups a day.
7 cups?
Yeah.
7 cups a day.
And I drink it like you should drink coffee. I drink it black because that's the best way to drink it.
The coffee. Yeah. What? I'm not there yet. I'm getting better. Like, when I started drinking coffee, it was like
chocolate milk. I remember.
Yeah, it was like 3 to 4 creamers, French vanilla, hazelnut, 2 each, and 2 sugars. I stir it well, but now I'm down to 1 each and 1 packet of sugar. I accidentally had 1 piece of sugar and no creamer the other day, and I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm not there yet. I was moving too fast. You got to ease yourself in. It's a toe dipper. It's like when you're getting in the pool, you just kind of test the waters before you dive right in.
Well, I've also been known to be a bitter person, so coffee black just fits my personality.
You like green tea?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
I'm not that zen.
I don't get it yet. I'm not a green teaer either. I don't get the hype yet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a good one for you today. Our bread and butter. We love us some NFL around here. We love all sports. But at the thick of it is NFL, and we are at championship week, AFC, NFC championships. Let's see, 2 teams I guess we expected to be here. 2 teams, right? You would say?
Well, my Super Bowl prediction I had been saying was the Saints versus the Patriots.
Crazy.
Which, it's...
Yeah, you are right.
I mean...
We're on the way. I mean, we were right there. Again, I had to publicly apologize to the Saints organization for the disrespect I shown them. And they played a hell of a game the other night on Sunday night. Sunday was a much better day of football than Saturday, by the way. I kind of wish I was busy Saturday, but there was no way I would have not watched the Falcons game, which we'll get into, and you'll see my disdain and hate for what had happened on that night. Yes, I said it, what had happened. It's very important to say it exactly that way. We're going to get into it. We're going to recap what we saw over the last weekend, and then a little bit later in the show, we're going to jump in to what is going on. what is coming up this upcoming weekend in the AFC and the NFC. And of course, there's no show without bruh. So you can definitely stick around and understand about bruh. So, Max, you want to start AFC? You want to start NFC? How's the deal?
Well, last week, we reviewed our darkest timelines, and I think that we saw it all come to fruition when the Falcons met up in Philadelphia with the underdogs, the Eagles, where Nick Foles showed up and played some pretty decent football. I wouldn't really give him so much credit as I would to the stifling defense that the Eagles brought out there.
Yeah.
And, I felt that this week, teams really did the wrong thing, and that was overlooking their opponents.
Yeah.
And if you overlook your opponent, you're bound for failure. The Steelers...
I don't think the Steelers did. I just think they were more than they were ready to handle. I think that they thought the Week 5 matchup was a straight-up fluke. They didn't give these guys enough respect, and Jacksonville came in and showed who they really are. I get where you're going with that, but, I mean, it was a 3-point game and a high-scoring game. 87 total points? I see where you're going with that. I do want to give a little bit more respect to Jacksonville than a lot of people would.
Well, Jacksonville has such a swagger. It reminds me of when the Legion of Boom was first founded. With the way that Jalen Ramsey's coming out and All Pro this year, with Miles Jack really lighting it up, Bouye another All Pro. Then that defensive line. If there's anything the Patriots should be scared of, it's a Tom Coughlin run team with a mediocre quarterback, a good running game, and an elite defense. And that is exactly what they have.
Yeah.
So I feel that this is one of the biggest tests the Patriots will have.
And they know that. They're prepared. They are prepared to know that they're going to have a dogfight. They're not walking into the Titans who are they're just going to ransack. That darkest timeline never came to fruition. They never even had that was just Corey Davis though. Hey, 2 touchdowns, bright side. Finally got something out of your first round pick. But so here's my question. Let's start with Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. Where did Pittsburgh falter here? Where did they go wrong? Because I mean they did everything. Big Ben did everything and more. And still came up with an L.
Questionable play calls. 4th and 1 with a guy like Ben Roethlisberger is not a time where you get cute. And I know Mike Tomlin has his ways of being cute. He likes to do little toss plays to Le'Veon Bell, who happens to be a very good running back. I'm not debating that at all.
Right.
But 1 yard, Marquise Pouncey, straight
Run
with Ben. Ben Roethlisberger. Just have Ben Roethlisberger go up the middle. Big Ben.
Even if you don't, you have one of the best, if not one of the best running backs in the league in Le'Veon Bell.
I'm saying give them 0 seconds to actually stop them. And I get it. You have Marcel Darius lined up on the other side. That push, though, is very hard to stop, especially Big Ben, who has so much experience. I mean, one of the best quarterback sneaks in the game is Tom Brady's. So, you're telling me that Big Ben, with all that size, couldn't get a good push behind the 300-pound monster that is his line? I just find that there were some questionable play calls where I get it, Mike Tomlin, you didn't think that you were ever out of the game, but you may have put yourself out of the game by making certain play calls, thinking you always had that final drive to win it. And that was the big mistake. And now the refereeing in that game was kind of atrocious, where they didn't pull out any flags. But don't expect that, Jacksonville, when you're in New England.
Oh, you're gonna get every flag.
New England. Since they lost to the Dolphins, the other team has 3 times. That's 300% more penalties called against them than New England does. Now, is that Bill Belichick coaching people not to get flags, and everyone else just hitting Rob Gronkowski a lot? No. There's something there. It's in the water in Foxborough. I don't know.
Referee Gate 2018. It's on the way. I mean, it's funny you say that though, because you think about the Saints Vikings game, and it seems like they kept a hand on a flag at every moment they had a chance to.
Oh yeah.
Which kind of explains a little bit about how that game ended. But what do you think? What do you think about the onside kick that Mike Tomlin called near the end of the game? Which I think it was 2 minutes and 18 seconds left. You had 2 timeouts, and
I thought that with that defense and how fired up they can get, even though they're not the most talented, especially without Ryan Shazier, the thing is, you really have to let your defense win you some games. If Blake Bortles is the other quarterback, that I want to take my chance against. When it comes down to it, I think that if I'm going to put my guys in man coverage against their young wide receivers and a not that great or accurate arm in Blake Bortles and just dare them to run Leonard Fournette at me and I can stop them with my timeouts, with Ben Roethlisberger and the wide receiver core that I have, like, yes, Bouye, yes, Jalen Ramsey, you still have two other good receiving options on that team that could probably beat the other guys. Like, I'm not that impressed with Barry Church. I think that I've seen him get burned when he was on the Cowboys.
And Tayshaun Gibson was out, I'm pretty sure, at that point in the game. I'm pretty sure he didn't come back in after he got hurt late in the third quarter, I think it was. I mean, but that goes to show what this defense can do, even a man down. I mean, this isn't a defense that has a lot of gaps. Now, here's my thing. I see what you're saying about being able to stop Blake Bortles, but at that point, Blake Bortles had just led a beautiful drive. 4.5 minutes, 2 to 3 third down completions. He was putting the ball exactly where he needed to. They kept the defense guessing. There was great play calling on it. And then that last play, they had the fullback just leak out and release, and it was an easy open touch. That may have been the best drive I'd seen from Blake Bortles all season long.
And a broken clock is right twice a day. Like, I'm not what I'm saying.
It depends on what time it's right.
But and yes, and again, I'm not one of the guys that thinks that he's the 70th best quarterback in the league. I definitely do think he's a little bit higher on that list, maybe around 50. But like, when it comes down to it, I feel that if I'm putting my faith in anything, it was going to be stopping Blake Bortles when Blake Bortles had to prove he was clutch. Yeah. And the only thing he's ever been clutch at is shotgunning a beer on the beaches of Jacksonville.
I mean, have you been to those beaches? They're really nice.
Actually, not yet.
Oh, man, we should make a trip. You don't want to do anything there but shotgun beer.
Duval.
Don't do it. You're bringing back my childhood and it scares me. So do you read much into, now they're talking about wanting to fire Mike Tomlin?
I don't read anything into that.
I really feel like they're disrespecting Jacksonville. Like, I feel like they're thinking about Jacksonville of old. It's like, you lost to Jacksonville, you don't deserve to have your job. But this is not the Jacksonville team.
It's very rare a 3-win team all of a sudden finds them in the AFC Championship.
It is very
and what's even weirder,
19. Like, you have the sample size. You know who this team is. They're not the scrubs you played last year. You should be prepared to go in for a dogfight, which, Big Ben realized it was. From 5 interceptions to 5 touchdowns. Would have been 6 if he didn't have to throw a backwards lateral to Le'Veon. But it's just, I feel like there's an overreaction to this loss. Like, I understand you're the Steelers, you're a first-class organization. You believe you belong in the AFC Championship with the Patriots year after year after year. But as we've said before, how hard it is to repeat anything in football, except being a horrible team. If you're a horrible team for a while, that may just be what you are.
Browns.
I wasn't going to say any names, but that parade was lit. I just feel like they're like, you lost to the Jaguars, you don't deserve to be here. I mean, you're talking about a man who's taken his team to the AFC Championship, 3 of the last 4 years? I'm pretty sure.
Who?
Mike Tomlin.
3 of the last 4? I don't know about that. Because the Broncos did, but the Broncos played the Patriots, not the Steelers.
Yeah, so that's the one I'm missing.
Well, no, and then I thought the Ravens were there. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But yes, Mike Tomlin though is great, but and yes, he's winning games, but it's just kind of like a better Marvin Lewis at one point, where it's like, yeah, but the point is, why am I going to spend all this money to be known as okay or good? I feel that when it comes down to the Mike Tomlin issue, that's just an overreaction. Really, I thought one of the problems was Todd Haley, just because of the butting of heads that everyone seemed to have. Ben Roethlisberger never liked him. Although, frankly, in my opinion, I would have been more on the convince Big Ben to retire so I have money for everyone else train, and maybe make a trade for one of these top picks.
I don't know what he expects. I mean, let's say you lose Martavis Bryant next season. Which, I mean, whatever. You still have Juju. Exactly. I know that. That's what I'm saying. They have so much firepower. And I don't think you're adding to that. So, like, what are you expecting by coming back next year? If you're Big Ben, there's not. I mean, there's not.
It's a lot like the LeBron. Why would he go back to Cleveland? The team's only getting older, and the Warriors are still there. Like, why do I care about being second best to Tom when at least if I go somewhere else or retire, people will still think of me as a great, and I have a great chance of being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see why Big Ben with his resume couldn't be, but with Big Ben, I thought the smart move would be to retire.
Yeah.
The team, it's kind of losing its track of him. I would say that the best thing they could do in this draft is trade for Baker Mayfield. I think if the Steelers had any hope of rebooting with that young talent that they have signed to long term, is getting a quarterback similar like the Cowboys did that could be there for a while and cheap.
Yeah.
That I think is a big move that you're going to see these franchises that have quarterbacks but don't have they have the quarterback name, they don't have the talent that they had. And so look out, like you might even see the Chargers looking at a new quarterback. You might see the Giants if like
I mean all these things they're at that point where they need to at least be thinking about it for sure. You can't get ready to go into another season with the quarterbacks this age and not be prepared for what's coming afterwards. So
now I want to bring up the question. So now the Giants have been rumored to be signing Pat Shurmur when the season is over to be their next head coach. Case Keenum has brought to the point that he would like to be with Pat Shurmur. Now, I don't see the Giants signing Case Keenum, but you're looking at a team with 3 quarterbacks in Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, and Teddy Bridgewater. You're probably only keeping one.
Yeah.
Do you stay loyal to Case Keenum?
No.
Do you stay loyal to Teddy?
I'm pretty sure it's Teddy at this point. Like they brought in Sam Bradford because of Teddy's injury. Case Keenum was a free agent sign, so you have a backup, knowing that Teddy Bridgewater wasn't going to be ready for most of the season. Case Keenum did a fantastic job, but it's very much like playing for the contract that he's going to get elsewhere. I believe that they would bring Teddy Bridgewater back when he's fully healthy. I mean, his one game he played, it wasn't a great showing, but he came in the fourth quarter with like 5 or 6 minutes left. His one pass attempt was tipped and got picked off. I mean, it was a happy story to see him back and knowing that he's going to be ready to go next season to lead this team. If it was me, I would believe that they were going to stay loyal to Teddy Bridgewater. And the only reason you're not keeping one of these other guys is because they know that they have the talent and deserve to play and start somewhere else.
Well, I don't think Sam Bradford has the right to start anywhere else. But you know, he could find his way. I mean, we're entering a very interesting quarterback offseason because even with Blake Bortles being there right now, who's to say that Case Keenum wouldn't be a great fit for the Jags?
I don't know.
Who's to say that there aren't better options out there? And then you still have the Jets not knowing who's going to be their quarterback.
The Jets never know who's going to be their quarterback, just like the Browns. They never know who's going to...
The Browns are out there. The Giants don't really know. Is Eli really going to be there? I just don't think Eli really fits the mobility of a quarterback necessary for a Pat Shurmur offense. Like, even Case Keenum's a little bit more mobile than people give him credit for.
I haven't heard...
Do you then trade for Alex Smith? Because, he's probably gone.
More likely. Especially, I mean, that was your last shot, and you had a great regular season, but so did Peyton Manning year after year after year. So, not to put Alex Smith and Peyton Manning in the same sentence, but you get where I'm going. You can be a regular season great all you want if you're not winning championships. 4th and 20 Sports, we are talking playoff recap right here on WBLZ Sports where we got balls. Let's jump over to the NFC. No need to talk about the route that was the Patriots and the Titans. There was no dark timeline. We understood what was going on there. This Falcons-Eagles game.
What a game.
It really irked me. Really? What a game? Like, what a game? I don't feel that way. 15-10? What a game? Like... You have an offense. No, it's not Kyle Shanahan's offense anymore. It's not as high-powered, quick run, and put up 30 points a game. You dropped off 15 points from last season, and Matt Ryan looks so confused. It was so hard for me to be upset at Matt Ryan because every time he made a bonehead play or a big mistake, you could come right back and fix it with the miraculous play. But I have to give all the credit really to Doug Peterson. The whole reason that the Eagles were the underdogs was because of Nick Foles back there. Decent QB. Knows the game. but hasn't shown it. He had a one great spectacular day against your New York Giants, which again was just a touchdown great. He only threw for I think 150 yards at most. But Doug Peterson made sure Nick Foles could not get in his own way. You have a three-headed monster at running back in LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi, who was running possessed. Jay Ajayi had a great game.
Well, it also seemed that the Falcons didn't understand a swing route. I felt every play was Nick Foles looking at Alshon Jeffrey, linebackers moving towards the middle, and them hitting Clement out on the left. And then Doug Peterson doing something that's very rarely done, two screens in a row.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Well,
that put you guys on notice.
If you ask me, that wasn't even what was hurting. I think it was more about the run game establishing itself, and then they went straight to the read pass option. Like almost every play, if Nick Foles saw man coverage, he was going to give the ball off, or if they bit on the slant, he was throwing the ball. And it worked play after play after play until they needed a third down, and he does the same thing, except he hands it off and Jay Ajayi or LeGarrette Blount up to the end. And once you get to the goal line, are you really stopping LeGarrette Blount time after time again?
Well, and that was one of our big things about the Falcons coming into the season was we had more faith in their secondary than we did in their line.
Yeah.
And really, the bottling up the D-line was pretty impressive. I mean, I've been impressed by the Eagles line this year, especially with Lane Johnson being able to stay in the whole season and not getting suspended and fighting through watching Jason Peters get injured. That was pretty big for them. Because last year, they were 4-0, and then Lane Johnson was taken away, and this season got basically imploded. So it is nice to see. I'm not an Eagles fan by any means. I hate Philadelphia. If you watch the show, I really do not like them. But when it comes down to it, I am impressed with what Doug Peterson has done. It is funny to see an Andy Reid protege back in Philadelphia making moves. I hope that the Vikings win against the Eagles just because I think it would be cool to see a Minnesota Super Bowl with Minnesota there. Yeah, and that defense, and I think we're looking at two teams that are very similar, but I trust Case Keenum more than Nick Foles. Fair. I trust Pat Shurmur more than Doug Peterson. I also think that defense's linebackers are better.
Yeah. So are you seeing this to be a low? We're gonna get there. I don't want to jump the gun. You got me excited. I'm ready to talk about that game because the way it went down. But I also want to be upset about the play that could have won the game, and the best receiver in the league just falls. But what a horrible play call! You have obviously your first look in this case is Julio, but it doesn't pan out, and you have no other options. Nobody to the left side of the field. It's basically like they ran a curl for Julio and ran a stick play with their tight ends Julio and Sanu was just in the back double covered. Like you gave yourself no out if this didn't run. He couldn't even run the ball in. And what do? You wait for him to get up and you still throw the ball to Julio.
Well, what's crazy about that play is when you look at it, that Devontae Freeman should have been in there. Pretend to block and then wheel route opposite side because clearly you tried to drag everyone to Julio. That was the main focus, and you could have just tried to hope that you get Devontae Freeman running to the opposite side of the field. And I know, never throw across your body. On the last play of a game where your best wide receiver is being covered and you need it to win,
do what you got to do.
Maybe throw across your body. You're Matt Ryan. You were an MVP because of Kyle Shanahan, clearly, not because of your... not because of your audible skills.
Nobody in the Super Bowl has audible skills.
Brady is
that doesn't count. It doesn't count. On the other side, they go, we can't audible. That's what they do. We call the best plays, and then we leave our team after we got a Super Bowl loss.
Hey, you guys brought back Sarkisian.
I'm okay with that. I feel like he knows where he went wrong, and he'll figure some things out next season. I'm not gonna bite on that.
If he remembers.
Let the man's past die. Why are you bringing up old stuff? I mean, Lane Kiffin's balling right now. You're not talking about what he was doing back in the day because, obviously, he's not a part of this conversation. That's not the point.
You can talk about Lane Kiffin if you want.
All right, we got a little bit more time before we take a short break. The game that was the game of all games.
But better ending play. Was it the defensive play by the? I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
The defensive play by the Saints? Or?
No, there was no defensive play by the Saints.
So you're saying was it a better defensive play by the Eagles?
Or a better offensive play by the Vikings?
Better defensive play by the Eagles. Absolutely.
I don't know. It looked like Julio fell. I mean, there was two,
that wasn't a part of the play. He wasn't supposed to fall.
Exactly. Well, that guy wasn't supposed to miss the tackle. He wasn't supposed to catch the ball, spin move.
I don't know how much of a miss as it was as he purposefully ducked and got out of the way.
Oh, man.
Oh, jeez. That game, that was a crazy game. That one looked very much so like the national championship. You had a 17-point lead, which honestly, if you watch the game between the Vikings and the Saints where we are now, and the way the Vikings dominated the Saints in the first half, the fact that they went into the locker room with 17 points, I was saying all the time, the Saints should feel really comfortable right now. Well, they should have been down at least 24 the way they were playing.
And that was the first time, in how many years that the Saints had been shut out in a half?
Oh, since 2014.
And missing that field goal, which could have been even bigger momentum. I don't know.
This defense was, and that was what we were saying the X Factor was, Drew Brees has the talent to be surgical. He can step up and make every single throw. You watch him do it. Highest completion rate in the NFL history. He's a surgeon with the football. And they couldn't get anything going that first half. But going in the locker room, 17 points down, if I'm Drew Brees and the Saints, I feel pretty comfortable. And that showed when they came back out in the second half and they made adjustments. They were hitting Michael Thomas. They weren't getting all the penalties that they were calling for ticky-tacky fouls. And they brought the game back. What was it, 3 or 4 lead changes in the last 2 minutes? That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. And that was definitely one of the better games that we've had in the playoffs, period.
Yeah.
It was definitely the highest rated game. It was one that we actually anticipated because this is the playoff of the backup quarterback right now, and it's very weird to watch. The thing was everyone really was hype about the possibility of Breeze versus Brady because, right now we have the chance of having a Bortles Foles, and that's terrifying. I can't imagine the 7-3 Super Bowl that I'd watch. That's a Thursday night football game I may miss. We were even talking about how if the Titans did pull that upset and it was the Jags-Titans, that literally is a Thursday football game that I'm not watching. With their weird gold mustard.
That would have been wild. That would have been wild if somehow Mariota figured a way out of it. But
you can't throw touchdowns to yourself
every single week.
Yeah.
That may be a play they put in. That would be quite interesting.
No.
Yeah. See, I feel much better about last week's episode because if you remember, we were calling these games, and that was a game. I went back and forth. I could not call that game, and it seems like neither could the Vikings or the Saints until the very last play. Which was so epic.
Well, what's really great is that Breeze doesn't want to leave New Orleans.
Yeah.
And that team is so young and talented right now.
I don't think he should anyways.
No, there'd be no point. At this point in his career, stay where you are. You're not going to, Joe Montana your way to the Chiefs and then go take another team to the playoffs. There's no point. You should really stick around. That city loves you and you love that city.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And this may be one of your best chances to get another Super Bowl. Your defense should only get better. They may bring you in another weapon at receiver, but with that run game, give you another option. Tay Higgins one day will slow down. Who knows if it's next year or the year after, but
there's still going to be speed receivers out there to get. There's always that guy.
They can find a big target, a big possession style
throwback
receiver.
to Marquise Colson.
Yeah, something of that nature to take away from Michael Thomas's speed on the other side. He already got Willie Snead.
Was Kelvin Benjamin a free agent?
That would be interesting. I know
what they missed is really the big wide receiver that was Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
They haven't had a tight end since, and Kobe Fleener, what happened?
He makes Josh look a little good. Wow. Drew Brees does some amazing things, I'm not going to lie.
We wouldn't care about Willie Snead.
So
for Drew Brees.
So what's the chance that we give the Saints great props at the beginning of the season next year and they revert back to what they usually do?
Well, I think you hope 100%.
I really do.
I Well, I don't know. I feel that the youth on that defense, I don't see them dropping off crazy, but I see them being more of a wild card kind of team.
Yeah.
Just similar to how the Falcons were this year, and similar to how the Panthers. Everyone falls back, and you never know if the Bucs can rebound. I mean, the Bucs going into the season were a top contender to win this division in most people's eyes.
That offense should have been prolific.
But then football happens, and we know nothing.
They're like the Saints last year to me. The Bucs this year, they just need a couple more pieces. They're close. They're on the up and coming.
Well, they've just never really taken the time to care about the trenches. I feel that they always try to get this wily vet, and it's nice to have Gerald McCoy. Sucks that he gets to be triple team because no one else can rush.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have such a great linebacking core.
They're close. They're close. They're on the way.
They're on the way.
4th&20 Sports, we're going to take a quick break here, give you some words from our sponsors, and we will be right back here on WBLZ Sports with our first live episode. We'll be right back. But for you guys, we're still here. That's for our radio show, which you guys can listen to on WBLZ Sports every Thursday at 7 p.m. And, at 6 on SoundCloud. And you can listen to us a lot. We're kind of there all the time.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get to the
subscribe. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. And,
wherever you want.
Yeah,
just listen.
Should I Carlton or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Station identification is over, and we are back. 4th&20 Sports here live on WBLZ Sports, where we've got balls. We just finished up our playoff recap of the divisional rounds, and we are about to get into our playoff preview of our championship rounds, AFC and NFC. But we can't do that without our weekly bruh. You know where I'm going. Can you dig it?
Whiff 6.
Whiff 6 is what they're calling it. The Whiff 6. We just got done with this game, the Saints-Vikings game. A fantastic game. I'm so glad I watched 90% of it. It was wonderful. If by 90%, I mean like 98%. I had to take my eyes away. I have a 2K problem. Sue me. Whatever. That might be the bruh itself, but I'm playing 2K at the same time. But this game, 4 lead changes in the last 2 minutes. And it comes down to Case Keenum. This is the moment of the season everybody's been waiting for. Is Case Keenum real? Have what we've been seeing all season the truth, or is he just playing everybody? And when it came time against a great young Saints secondary, Case Keenum let it fly.
Bruh.
And I can't even blame him because you have the 2 best receivers in the NFL when it comes to catching the ball contested. So he throws it up to his guy, Stephon Diggs. And by the way, they're in this position because of a wonderful catch by Adam Thielen, who just didn't care who was around. But he throws it up on the sideline. Stephon Diggs, he's covered. And if it wasn't enough, he has help coming from the safety spot. Your man, Marcus Williams, 4 interceptions on the season. I'm pretty sure had a really big play.
And he had an interception in the game already.
It was playing lights out. But if you think about it, they couldn't do anything early in the game without a flag being called. Ken Crawley breathed on Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen and got flags all day.
Most penalized player on the team.
And what you can't do here is give them an untimed down at the 20-yard line because they kick a field goal and it's over. So Marcus Williams comes in and he realizes he's close and he's early. And what does he do? He ducks his head and moves underneath Stephon Diggs, who, of course, catches the ball. But not only does he miss Stephon Diggs, he takes out Ken Crawley in the process. And now there is nobody within earshot of Stephon Diggs who takes it to the house for the 61-yard Whiff 6 game-winning touchdown, bruh. Marcus Williams.
The emotion.
You can't slow up and catch this man in the air after he touches the ball because you put him down on the right side and bounds and the game's over. You're headed to the NFC Championship to play the Eagles, which, let's be honest, I believe you would take care of them handedly. But
offensively, they would just, if you can beat the Vikings defense, you're going to beat the Eagles defense.
Bruh. This young kid, I feel a little bad for him But he's going to help win a lot of games in the future. But, bruh, this moment when you needed to shine.
If he doesn't get a case of the yips. The thing that was killing me about it was this guy who's been a ball hawk for this team didn't go for the ball.
Yeah.
The definition of pass interference is if he's going for the ball, well, he's not going to get called. Because if you're going for the ball and the referee sees that, it's not pass interference anymore. Because you're making a play. So really, he should have just tried to out-jump Stephon, even if it meant he interfered a little bit. He was still going for the ball, so technically no penalty. Even if it goes incomplete, then it's even more of a they have to heave it all the way, and then you can play deep three as opposed to the sideline defense of don't let them get out of bounds in field goal range. Either way, unbelievable, bruh. I feel for you, Marcus, but it was still really funny. Thank you, Internet, for everything you provided. That was, you blew the season for the Saints, and that would have been a miraculous season. Yeah. They were one of the worst teams in football last year, but they really made some great strides in their drafting. So, Saints, bright future, but bruh, Marcus,
that was your moment.
We are going to remember that forever. No matter how many big plays you put up in the future. That will always be your biggest fail, and we'll love it forever. It's no butt fumble.
What he said.
But I'll still like it. Bruh. Well, I have a few things that have been very bruh-worthy for me. After guaranteeing Mike Mularkey his job, the Titans and Mike Mularkey have now parted ways. Bruh. That doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I mean, he didn't do a horrible job, and now you also are now entering this race with everybody already on the team, basically. Yeah. All the big guys are gone. You're not getting Josh McDaniels. He's going to the Colts, it looks like. Although I think he would be better on the Titans. You're not getting Patricia. You're not getting your old coach Munchak because that didn't work out for you. So that was a very bro-worthy moment. But my favorite bro that I found out recently was going to be the halftime show for the NHL All-Star Game. Now, if you guys watch our show, you know we don't talk a lot about hockey. It's not so much that we don't like hockey. It's just why bore you with us not knowing anything.
There's a blue line, apparently.
But bruh. Now, NFL Super Bowls have had some pretty out-of-date people come up and do their halftime shows. Some of them have been great. Some of them have just been like, why are they here right now? That seems to be on the verge of changing. I mean, Justin Timberlake's pretty good. Lady Gaga was really big when she came out. Beyonce, you can't get mad at. So, people, the girlfriends had to watch something, and NHL didn't really get that memo yet because their halftime performer is going to be Kid Rock. A man being sued by the circus because his album is also called The Greatest Show on Earth. Bruh. NHL. Bruh. I don't think that's your market. There isn't a Canadian artist that would have been killer for this.
Brian Adams.
Hell.
You're going to stay out of date.
Yeah. I mean, hell. Anybody really Kid Rock? Does he even like hockey?
I mean, if Sheryl Crow shows up and they sing that picture song, I mean, it may do well.
That's not a hype song. This is a sporting event.
It'll be right after Ball with the Ball. Bang to bang.
Not without his little friend.
Oh. Rude.
Bruh. But NHL, get with the times. That's my bruh this week. I couldn't believe that Kid Rock is still getting anything. I remember when Kid Rock was pretending to run for Senate and people were actually starting to back him. That's how sad the Republican Party's becoming.
I remember when he was in Joe Dirt.
Yeah. He played that role perfectly.
Yeah, he did. Bruh. I mean, watch me later find out Kid Rock's been an NHL ambassador for 10 years now.
Partial owner of the
we
Las
don't
Vegas
know hockey.
team.
4th&20 Sports. Those are our bruh moments of the week. We are going to move on to the NFL Championship Round preview. We got the Jags versus the Patriots, and we got the Vikings versus the Eagles. Now, Let's talk about these backup QBs. Vikings versus the Eagles. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. With the defense that is the Vikings, we've seen the shutdown corners. Their linebackers have really stepped up. But this Eagles defense is really here to show that they're not going to back down from anybody. Malcolm Jenkins has been a revelation for that team, playing everywhere. Ronald Darby came back from injury. He's been highlighted. That front line with Fletcher Cox and Derek Barnett has been top-notch. So I'm expecting this to be a low-scoring game. But, I mean, unless Doug Peterson has something else up his sleeve like he did last week that we're not ready for, I don't see them overcoming the Vikings.
Well, the thing with the Eagles that I'm a little nervous for is that their linebackers are great, but they don't have that overall speed to get to the edges. Two of the biggest playmakers to look for in this game are going to be those spellbacks in McKinnon and Clement. I think that the Vikings have that advantage. The Anthony Barr, those guys, that core are so fast, and they are sideline to sideline players. They could practically play strong safety. And then when it comes down to the Eagles, they're really going to need their safeties to help make sure that Jerick McKinnon's not getting away from anybody. And I think that's a big disadvantage because you still have Stephon Diggs that you have to worry about. Thielen, who's a great receiver. And I think that the way that line is, the defensive line, is that if you let them kind of feel the rush, trap runs, screens, and slants are going to be the death of the Eagles. And that's the game that they want to play. They don't want to just throw the ball deep. No. This isn't a big play offense. Don't be fooled by that final play. That was the last thing they really wanted to do. So when it comes down to it, I feel that there is such an advantage just defensively, and those are the two strengths of both of these teams. So I feel that with that disadvantage, Nick Foles may have to take more upon himself because Linval Joseph in the middle, Brooks Robinson there, they are not letting running backs like Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount just run through them. Linval Joseph is going to put a hat on LeGarrette Blount. And we saw LeGarrette get stuffed a few times against the Falcons.
He has to be getting to the edge if he's going to make things happen, and that's not I mean, around the goal line, sure, but that's not really how he plays. That's why you have Jay Ajayi there. So you have Corey Clement there.
But for the Eagles' advantage on defense, I feel is their interior linemen can create a push that'll let a blitzing linebacker get through there. And if you can rush a screen pass, if you can rush a slant where actually a linebacker drops back and just picks it off, Case Keenum may not respond to the pressure that people think he could. And I think that is something that we should be looking forward to, is really this comes down to a battle of the trenches. Is one offensive line going to be able to withhold the defensive line of the other? And I think overall, I'm still going to go with the Vikings on that. I would say that we're looking at a 17 to 14 point game, 17-10. It's not going to be a shootout. It's really going to be a time of possession game. And as you saw, Doug Peterson really likes to control that.
Well.
And what the Vikings need to do is make sure that you keep your contain on these swinging running backs.
But see, I think it's going to be harder for those guys, for the for the Eagles to have that time of possession in this game, because I'm feeling like we're going to see a lot more 3-and-outs. You'll have a couple plays where Alshon Jeffrey bails you out. You'll have a couple plays where Zach Ertz bails you out. But I really do think this Vikings defense is going to hold. Now, on the other end, I think the Vikings are going to need a little bit more from some of the players that you have been hearing. I need Kyle Rudolph to show up. I need him to have a much bigger game than he's had most of the season. And I think he can be an X factor. I'm ready to see Adam Thielen's going to have one of those plays. Like, if you watched Adam Thielen a lot this season, he has a bunch of games where he does the little dink and dunks. He does it 5-7 yards at a time. And then exactly when you need him to, he gets a slant route, he gets a deep post, and he takes off for 50 yards. I feel like that may be one of the plays that differs this game. I mean, of course, Stephon Diggs is capable of it as well. But I'm feeling like Ronald Darby's going to be shadowing Stephon Diggs a lot more this game. And he's going to have to deal with that a lot. Besides Alshon Jeffrey, I don't see anybody who's going to really step up and hurt the secondary that way. Harrison Smith's ready for Zach Ertz more times than not. And Zach Ertz is a big body. He's a great receiver. He's had a wonderful season. I think
Xavier Rhodes gets in heads, and you're not going to tell me that another guy you might have to look out for is the matchup of Terrence Newman versus Nelson Aguilar.
That's
because
true.
I think Aguilar is kind of faster than Terrence Newman at this point in his career.
Not everybody can be Brady and 40 years old, about to be 41.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the oldest people on that team. He's got to.
Yeah. 38, 39?
Something like that. I don't remember. He had him in the Madden draft.
Yeah, he's old. But I mean, he's still a good quarterback, though. I mean, he's gonna get burnt. You're gonna have to have a lot of deep threes. You're gonna have a lot of help on that side. If it's one of the stay at home quarterback styles, if he's gonna be there the entire time, if Xavier Rhodes is gonna be moving around, then I don't think it's gonna be a huge deal. But yeah, if Nelson Aguilar gets a step on him, I mean, there's nothing he can do about it.
But then you also have Sindeo, who had made an amazing play after being burned. Wow, Drew. If Drew hits that throw, and if they don't get that stupid offensive call, oh my God, there's so many things that stop the Saints from succeeding in that first half. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
I'm just a little bitter. I said that the Saints and the Patriots would be in the Super Bowl. Now I don't want either of them. I don't want the Patriots in either.
So who do you have winning this game? You said 17-10?
Yeah, 17-10. I'm going with the Vikings and I think that they dominate the time of possession as well. I think they'll almost have a full quarter of time over the Eagles.
I'm going to go 21-14. I think it'll be a touchdown difference as well. I'm going to go 21-14. I'm going to go Vikings. And I feel comfortable about that. I mean, hey, Eagles may surprise us once more. I will cry. But I think the Vikings are going to lock this up and have a home Super Bowl, which would be interesting.
Oh, man, yes, and whoever just commented, if Willie Snead knew how to hit Alvin Kamara on that route.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, the amount of times they put man coverage of a linebacker on Kamara, and I was like, Drew, hit that, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you saw him on the sideline. He's like, he was wide open.
Oh, God.
He was mad at himself.
Yeah.
He used to be a QB. I don't know.
In high school.
It was so close. Too.
Yeah, but Alvin Kamara can only do so much.
Yeah, man. We'll see how much he does next season, too. I'm excited for him.
But really, the game that I'm super excited for.
I'm excited for this one, too. I'm surprised it's the early game. I thought this was going to be the night game. This one should be exciting. The Patriots versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes. That's not a mistake.
Remember when we were laughing about picking the Jacksonville Jaguars defense? And when we did our fantasy preview,
I was excited.
We were like, oh, yeah. Did you know I drafted the best move I've ever made accidentally in
Jaguars
fantasy.
defense.
I think they were my last pick in 2 drafts. That's Jacksonville Jaguars.
I remember saying that, too. The only reason I didn't have them in all of them, I just, you had to play the odds. The fact that you could get that defense last this year to me was crazy.
Well, the name. And also, when you think about defenses, you think about, well, if they get tired because they're always on the field because the offense doesn't score, well, you're kind of in a tough situation there where they're going to give up points. But, man, they scored points. I have a question in this game for you. I want to know. Who has more touchdowns? Blake Bortles, Leonard Fournette, or the defense of the Jaguars?
I'm gonna go Leonard Fournette, and it'll go Leonard Fournette. It'll go the defense, and then it'll be Blake Bortles. I mean, you saw Leonard Fournette last week had 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of them were goal line. One of them coming because the defense just couldn't cross the goal line.
And it's gonna
set them up perfectly, and I think that's going to happen again.
Going to be in Foxborough, super cold game, more of a running game atmosphere right there. It's going to be an away game, so you don't want to put the pressure with the volume of having to call out plays on the line. Running does make sense, especially with the Patriots not being good at run defense.
Yes, they had a hard time with that. I think another big factor in this game, and Belichick and Brady know this, is you're playing Saxonville as well. Brady's been sacked 35 times this season. That's probably the most in his career he's been sacked.
I don't know,
but he was sacked 15 times.
But he's not playing like the Brady of old. He also had a streak of 5 games in a row throwing an interception. Yeah. That hasn't happened in a very long time. So that idea is crazy. We're finally it may not be the immediate drop off that we saw with Peyton Manning or really with Brett Favre. But the drop-off is coming. I mean, you can only be great for so long. And it's frustrating how long it's been.
I honestly think he has a very good season next year. Stays to a pretty high level. And I think you see the decline really happen the year after, which he should still be there. Barring injury, of course.
Jimmy G,
but you could definitely see it coming, right? Belichick is apparently upset about that. I don't buy it, though.
He's on to Jacksonville.
So, all right. So, Belichick and Brady are prepared. They've already said this is the hardest challenge that they've already had to deal with this season. They've seen this team from day one. They held joint practices in training camp. I want to say familiar with each other, but if anyone's watching film and seeing what they're up against, it's Belichick and Brady. Do you think the defense does enough?
Well, they are definitely a bend, don't break defense, the Patriots. With the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're an opportunistic defense.
Right.
I think, though, that this is not the best offensive line Tom Brady's ever worked with.
Right.
This is one of the better defensive lines he's ever faced.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Marcel Darius, Fowler Jr., Calais Campbell, and I forgot the other DN that forced the fumble for Telvin Smith to pick up last week. It's a hard name to say.
Paul Nazi?
No, that's a linebacker. It's like Ngakwe, something like that. I butchered it.
I know exactly. I know.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it because I was going to get it. I was going to do it terribly.
That guy.
But the last DN they have, and I just think that you can send Miles Jack. With Miles Jack, Telvin Smith, those guys are so fast. They're two of the best linebackers I feel like we've had in this year. The fact that the Jags stole Miles Jack and Jalen Ramsey in that draft was so, and then getting Fowler Jr. healthy, it was just and then signing Bouye and Barry Church leaving the Cowboys. It was just a recipe for success that all kind of fell into place. And, and I really, 2 claps to Tom Coughlin. Couldn't be happier for success there as a longtime Giants fan since the beginning. Watching of my life. I was there with Jim Fossil all in, but I was really all in on Tom Coughlin. He was so nice to have for the culture. And I love how he came in a little hardened and not very nice to anybody. Michael Strahan hated him, but he came around, and I think that's only helped. Because I'll be first to say it, I think he has more to do with that team than Doug Marrone does. I don't think
that's fair.
Yeah, Doug Marrone's just good for a few funny statements at the end of press conferences. Something about bologna all the time. He's really into it. I won't eat the stuff, but
you're not doing it right.
I don't eat that Alabama round steak. Not for me.
You're a Canadian ham guy. Canadian ham. Exactly
they call ham bacon up there. Oh my God. America's
hat. Oh, it's a good hat. Top hat. Maybe a bowler.
I don't think it's that classy. It's probably a denim baseball cap.
Snapbacks and tattoos. All right, so besides just being Brady, what needs to happen on their side to get the best of this Jacksonville defense?
Well, I think it's going to actually have to come down to really using the shiftiness of these receivers. Now, this is a man coverage kind of defense a lot of the time. Well, these aren't speed guys. These are route runners.
Right.
And you may be able to get all the tackles you want, but you may not be able to stop the passes because who throws into a tighter window more perfect than Tom Brady right now? Who's really going to be able to have that extra step and predict it? Because Amendola can easily do a fake left front and out and do a slant right in. And even though you were able to react as best as you could, you're still one step behind, and that one step is a completion. That's 7 yards and move on to Burkhead, who will probably get -1, and then a 5-yard catch to Hogan. Or Rob Gronkowski's also going to be tough. Barry Church isn't good enough to guard him. You're not going to put Jalen on him. You're not going to put Bouye on him. They're too small. And then you're going to really have to hope that you can somehow do a drop back of Miles Jack and then Barry Church over the top to try and pick off anything thrown high. That's really the best way I can see them stopping Gronk. I think that the biggest playmaker in this game is going to be Rob Gronkowski. I think that he has the chance. But in the past, in playoffs, Rob's disappeared.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm actually thinking a lot more is going to be happening with these little out routes coming from the backfield. You know, the James White and the Deion Lewis, and doing what they've done a lot of the time. They get down to the goal line, and if Rex Burkhead's healthy and going to play and everything, he's been pretty good around the goal line. He's averaged 2 touchdowns down there a game that he's played. James White knows how to show up in playoffs. Deion Lewis should have a great game. It's another one of those. We have a deep backfield, and we're going to utilize every part of them that we can. Now, I do think the Jacksonville defense is a little bit quicker to be able to stop that than they've had to deal with in the past. But yeah, I mean, if you get Gronk going early, I feel like the adjustments are going to come that could stop that game plan.
Well, I'm going with my pick, and I'm going to say 31-28, Jags, Lambeau game-winning kick. Leonard Fournette with 3 touchdowns and a pick 6 for Jalen Ramsey.
Yes. I think someone said the same thing to me, not to that detail, but I think they went 31-28. I also think the Jags are going to win. I'm going to go 35-31.
Sorry, Jacksonville. I guess we've cursed you.
Yeah, probably. But see, that's the thing. Like, if it's that close of a game, who has the ball in the end?
I think time management with the running game that they rely on goes to the Jags. I think they can win time of possession, and the Patriots have to score quickly. And I feel that they always feel that pressure to score quick.
Well, it remains to be seen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being with us today. 4th and 20 Sports went live, and we will be doing that for you each and every week. Hopefully, like right at 4:20. That'd be dope if we can make that work. But either way, it's live. You'll see it on your Facebook feed, and you can go, "Oh, that's my show. I'm tuning in," because we're that good. 4th and 20 Sports here live on WBLZ Sports, where we've got balls. Click that like, click that subscribe, and listen to us each and every week. We thank you so much. I've been AJ.
And I'm Max.
Peace.